Hey again, guys. Do you know what I like to do when I'm at my other home for Thanksgiving? I like to look at some baseball cards. Hey, if you are a passionate collector, you're at the right place. If you're trying to get away from all the nonsense and people who are ruining the hobby, you're at the right place. So I've been doing some rummaging. I've been going through boxes. And I've been texting some fellow YouTubers as I find things that I think they might be interested in. I haven't gone through this stuff in 20 years. And I didn't even remember having some of it. And I thought it would be fun to show you just some of the highlights, some of the better stuff that I've been going through. First of all, I wanted to share with you this. I had this group of some of my books when I was growing up, how I learned about sports. And I thought it'd be funny to show you. I had this all-time All-Stars sport book on baseball where I learned about the greatest players at the time. I remember reading that cover to cover. And I had these baseball trivia books. This one here and this one here. And this is where I learned a lot of my baseball trivia. And I had this great baseball feats, facts, and firsts. Lost a little corner of the cover there over the years. That's another book I had. And this baseball's greatest moments throughout the history of baseball. And when I was little, in grade school, they had this program where they would come in and you could order inexpensive books. And throughout grade school, I would order these, and the only thing I read back then was sports, about sports. And I still have all the books I bought back then, and I thought it'd be interesting to show you. And I have some other ones. But I know these were in that program because they always came this size, they always looked similar. So here's All-Pro Basketball Stars from 1978 with Dr. J. All-Pro Baseball Stars of 1979, with Jim Rice on there. This was Kenny Stabler and the Oakland Raiders. And I have a whole bunch of Pirate and Pittsburgh Steeler books. This is All-Pro Football Stars 79 with Earl Campbell on the cover. These are small little books, but I used to read through these. All-Pro Baseball Stars from 1980 with Pete Rose. And this book was the greatest in baseball. Man, this brings back some memories. And these were best baseball stories. I had Pro Hockey, 1982. Thicker book here. Baseball's Most Valuable Players with Mick. Man, I couldn't buy enough baseball books growing up. Here was a book on Pete Rose. And I love this book, All Stars of the NFL. This is where I learned about a lot of the great football players. And in the cover here is O.J. Simpson after rushing for over 2,000 yards. And I think the significance or impressiveness of that has been lost. You know, he did it in fewer seasons. He's the only one to do it in a 14-game season. And the first guy ever to do it And it was a big deal at the time. And I don't know, with the number of game changes and everything, if that has something to do with it, or just his life tragedy may have something to do with that. But at one time, that was an incredible record that was highly regarded. And I had this great quarterbacks book. So I wanted to show you some cool things that I had. First, this is funny. And I saved this all these years, but this was Sotheby auction with the Honus Wagner and Mickey Mantle card, highlighting what they sold for. So they go over what Honus Wagner, the T206, sold for over the years. In 1979, it sold for $4,800. In 1989, it sold for $20,000. In 1990, it sold for $115,000. And then in 1991, it sold for $451,000. And of course, it wasn't, I don't think long after that, that the Wayne Gretzky partnership paid over $1 million. I think it was 1.3, but it was over $1 million. And that card ended up being trimmed. And the Mickey Mantle here, and this surprises me. I don't remember it going for this much back then, especially because this is before grading, so these were raw. They were just cards, not raw. So this Mickey Mantle here sold for $49,500. I don't remember it selling for that much back then. But when I was growing up, sports were important to me, and the, documenting it and saving things were important to me. And I ended up saving all kind of newspapers. And as I was going through them, man, I didn't remember saving some of them. Some of them I did, I definitely did, but some of them I don't even remember saving. I don't remember wanting to save them. I don't know where I kept them growing up in my bedroom. But the one that I cherish the most, I happened to be in Atlantic City. When I was little, my parents took me to Atlantic City, and I happened to be there when Pete Rose broke Ty Cobb's record, which was awesome because I got to get a Philadelphia Inquirer. And here I had saved this, no recollection of saving it, when Nolan Ryan got his 300th victory. And this was one I saved leading up to Pete Rose's record. And I got this when Walter Payton broke Jimmy Brown's record. I got this when, I saved this when Jack Lambert retired. He had turf toe. A tough guy like that, turf toe, ended his career. This is when Penn State beat Vinny Testaverde in Miami in the national championship. That was a great game. Penn State played so great defensively. Then my man Patrick Lalime, young goalie for the Penguins at the time, a rookie, set a record for most consecutive wins by a rookie goalie. And of course, another Pittsburgher owns most consecutive wins by a rookie quarterback, and that was Big Ben Roethlisberger. And he broke Mike Kruzak's record, who was also a Pittsburgh quarterback. Here is an article saying that with preparation, luck, Ripken set to tie Lou Gehrig's record. So this was before he broke it. This is the baseball strike of '94. Kiss it goodbye. Here's when Mark McGwire broke the single season home run record. Here's when the Rangers, New York Rangers, broke their 1940 jinx. I have no recollection of this happening or caring at the time, so it's perplexing to me that I saved this. Here's one when the Penguins won their second Stanley Cup. Here's when Magic Johnson announced he had AIDS, or HIV, I should say, HIV. The aforementioned O.J. Simpson verdict. When I was born, my mom had kept me all kind of newspapers of happenings that were around my birth. And there was a lot of stuff going on back then. It was like we landed on the moon, Martin Luther King assassination, JFK assassination, and it gave me the idea to save these. And I cannot find for the life of me those newspapers that my mother had saved. I need to figure out where they are. You will never see this again as long as the Pittsburgh Pirates have their current owner, but this was when they three-peated the National League East. 3 championships in a row. Never happened again. This was when Charles Barkley was the MVP of the All-Star game. I saved when Chuck Noll retired. This is just cool because it's showing Magic Johnson going up against Michael Jordan. I'll show some more newspapers in a bit, but I wanted to show you some other stuff. I was in Montreal for a convention, and there was a guy I was talking to. I think he was from Tennessee. It's a long time ago. So we're standing in the airport, and I spotted Mario Lemieux. And I said, "Do you know who that is?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "Oh, that's Mario Lemieux. He plays hockey." And he's like, "Oh, my son's a big hockey fan. I'll bet he knows who he is." And so I didn't think anything of it. I was talking to somebody else, and he comes and taps me on the shoulder, and he's like, "Here," and he hands me an autographed little souvenir hockey stick. They had a big hockey store in the Montreal airport, and so he hands me one, and he had one for his son. He's like, "Thanks for letting me know." He signed 2 sticks for me. I went and bought them in there. And afterwards, he had sent me a card thanking me for pointing him out. So I saved this card all those years. And it was when he was returning from his back surgery, and I happened to be sitting in first class with him, and it was on US Air. There's only 4 seats in first class. So I was with him, and I don't know if it was his agent or who was coming back with him. He was with another guy, and he couldn't even stand up to get on the plane. You could tell his back was really bad. And I remember coming back and telling everybody, "I don't think he's going to return. He can't even stand up." But he proved me wrong, and he did return. Here is, this is Willie Stargell Day from 1982. This was a picture I got out of a magazine when I was a kid, and I just always kept it. I just loved it. I kept this thing. Who remembers when Domino's gave out football cards with their pizza? And this was the flyer with coupons. Warren Moon there. I had cut this out of a magazine just because I thought it was really cool. I used to frame these things in my room or put them with my cards. That Barry Bonds there. And Baseball Cards magazine, man, one of my favorites. And I have this stack of cards that came in the magazine. That's really cool. Bo Jackson there. And they made these rookie cards too. Here's Juan Gonzalez. This one has, anybody good on here? Ben McDonald, who remembers him? John Olerud. Ben McDonald, he was so big coming up. I got this one minor league card of his, and I was so excited to get it. Oh, we got more on the back. I have two together here. This is, who's on here? Oh, Kevin Moss, another highly touted prospect. And here's Sammy Sosa. And I can't remember where I got this. If I got this from a box of cards, I think it was an insert in a magazine. But this is a checklist for the 1990 Bowman baseball set. And I had planned on framing this with my set. Of course, back then we didn't know people were gonna start calling those cards junk. I don't call them junk. Ain't junk to me. Here I have 1993 Pirates Spring Training Program. And I was at one of these spring trainings. I think it was 93, but I have a 94 one too. And I only went 1 year, and I can't for the life of me figure out where I got the other one. But I had all the Pirates sign my baseball, and I showed my ball not that long ago, and I showed you when Tim Wakefield signed it, I had him sign it where he holds his knuckler, and he was gracious to do that, one of my prized possessions. Huge Tim Wakefield fan. And I got this Topps magazine, Killer Bees, with Bobby Bonilla and Barry Bonds. I've been sending Nate pictures left and right, because I was a big Bonds fan, so saved just about everything with him. And I got these golf magazines, Beckett Golf. They had made this magazine in the early 2000s, and I was really into golf, and I took my love of golf and cards, and I started a golf collection. So I have a very large golf card collection. This was another one I saved. And this is funny. I used to get this magazine. It was called Rookie Review. It's when the rookie card craze happened and everybody was chasing these guys. And they made this magazine. And you may have seen some of the cards that are inside of them. And if you do have some or seen them and didn't know where they came from, this is where they came from. And this one here has 2 sheets, I believe. And it's when LeBron James, Freddie Adu, Alex Ovechkin, and heck, Ichiro and Yao Ming and Matsui were coming up. And they have cutout cards in there. So if you never knew where those came from and you have some, now you know. And where is LeBron? I know LeBron's in here somewhere. Oh, there's another basketball player. I think I missed him. Oh, there he is. Right there. So I have that. I think I had other ones that I didn't keep the full magazine, just cut the cards out. And then this is funny. This says, "Is money killing baseball?" And it's when Dave Winfield became the highest paid player. And then there's also an article in here, Dave Parker now declares, "I will not be run out of this city." Because I remember the Pirate fans had turned on him at one point because after he signed the $1 million contract, he had a really bad year, and the fans were really on Dave Parker. Now, he was actually the first baseball player offered $1 million a year, but the Pirates didn't want to be known for that, and they knew Nolan Ryan was getting $1 million, so they waited until Nolan Ryan signed his contract, and then they signed Dave Parker. And I watched this on... the theater played this on pay-per-view. You buy tickets to go watch it, and I went with my college roommate and our dads. And the fight lasted. We waited all night, watched all the underfights, and this thing lasted 91 seconds. Mike Tyson was a beast. I had these pictures in here from over the years. The Mick, Willie Mays, and a bunch of Clementes. Oh, here's another Mick. I don't even remember wanting Mickey Mantle's photos back then. This top loader's all yellow. That's how old that is. No idea where I got these. Okay, what else? We got, I have this yearbook for Duke from 91-92. That great team. And this Penn State program from 82. And this Steeler program from 2002. And this is cool. I saved this because the year after they won the national championship against Vinny Testaverde, this guy was on that team, but he was the backup quarterback. The following year, he became the starting quarterback. And this is Matt Kisner. And he grew up in Youngwood, where George Blanda grew up, and I played ball with him. He was on my baseball team. He was our biggest power hitter, and he broke all the our high school basketball records at the time, too. I would save a program from any game I went to. Here's Pitt. And this is kind of cool because it has Eric Mobley and Jermaine Morgan. Now, Eric Mobley played in the pros, and Jermaine Morgan is from Jeannette, PA, and he used to come hang out at my house. They always called him Money when he was growing up because on the court he was money. And he used to come to my house, and Eric Mobley would call him. They'd come watch Monday Night Football. I had a whole group of guys. And yeah, Eric Mobley would call him over there. I got this from the Pirates All-Star Fest in '94. And I have this, Give 'em a Thrill. What is this, a schedule, I think? Yes. With Rick Rhoden on the front. And this is a 1980 scorebook. And here is 1980. Oh, this is also 80. They're different though. And of course, this is the year after they won the World Series. Here's another. This is Penn State, Iowa. This was the first Penn State game I ever went to as a kid. DJ Dozier, I believe, was the running back that year. A really good running back. Penn State just had them, man. They had Kurt Warner, played for Seattle, #1 draft pick, I believe, #1. Kurt Warner, DJ Dozier, Kijana Carter. There were just so many. Of course, before them, Franco Harris and Lydell Mitchell. Here's a 1982 yearbook. You know, when I would go to the games, I would always get one right away, and then I would protect it with my life and try to keep it from getting stuff spilled on it, and it was a pain. It wasn't very much fun to sit there. Here's a scorecard from 1982. Here's one from 1981. This is a Tough Stuff magazine insert. Man, I miss that magazine with Ken Griffey Jr. This is pretty cool. This is the original Dream Team. And I have no idea where I got this. It's probably an insert somewhere. But it's a big, long poster. Some good ball players on there. You know what? I don't think that's the original Dream Team. That must have been the second one. I don't know enough about it, but there's no Michael Jordan on here. David Robinson, Karl Malone, John Stockton. Shaq's on there. I guess that's not the original Dream Team. This is 96. 96 men's basketball team. All right, I saved this Sports Illustrated for Kids, Athlete of the Year, Barry Bonds. And are there cards in here? No, I had a bunch of these I saved with the cards. This is baseball card, price guide, monthly price guide. I guess I used to get with Barry Bonds on it. Fleer Pro Cards, Hopes, Dreams, and 149 teams. Minor league cards. And I had some photos. I saved some cool photos I've found over the years, I guess. I always loved that Bo Jackson. And I guess I had these framed and hanging up. The Kid. And I framed this to keep with my cards in my card room because I just thought it was really cool visual. And it was an article on Topps baseball cards. And this was the first page of the article. And I had this, this is the newest thing I think in here, or one of the newest. And it's, I believe this is from his rookie season. This was an official photo of Big Ben. And today they fired Matt Canada, our offensive coordinator. Now I'm never going to celebrate somebody getting fired or anything negative like that, but I can't say I'm disappointed. We've been wanting a change for 3 years. The offense has been horrible under his realm, although it was pretty bad under Todd Haley's realm too. I don't know where these guys, how they keep their jobs. I don't know if you or I did our jobs this way. There's no way we would last 3 years. I found these football digests. Got Franco Harris, Walter Payton, Earl Campbell, and my man, Steve Carlton. And I had this card tucked away. Have you guys ever seen these? This card is so cool, but I want to get a player. I want to get a better player. Let's see here. Who on the back? Curtis Martin. Yeah. Jerry. Oh, they have Jerry Rice in this set. Barry Sanders. Deion Sanders. So this was a kind of 3D card. So when you open it up, there's a card in there. And this thing is so cool. It's like a little movie. And this is Jeff Blake. It's the only one I've ever seen. I need to get a better player though. What is this? Motion Vision, 1997. Motion Vision. Well, they close. And just a few more newspapers I wanted to show you. This is from when they were proposing to put in PNC Park. And for whatever reason, I saved that, and it was 1991. So it took them like a decade to build that thing. This is when Arnold Palmer played his last Masters. And of course, I used to run into him. Got stuck in a rain delay with him. He was in the foursome behind me because I used to play his country club all the time. And Tiger Woods on here too. One of the most gracious athletes you would ever meet. It was so much fun talking to him when I was stuck with him. And this is this was a cool Bo Jackson photo, I guess. Here is when Jim Leland retired, or didn't retire, but left the Pirates. He was a great coach. We won 3 national championships, National League. pennants with him. And here's where Doug Drabeck, who had won the Cy Young the year before, it says he hit baseball jackpot. And I guess it was like the first time in arbitration, anybody had their salary tripled. He was a good pitcher. Another Jim Leland when he left. I have no recollection of saving these. Maybe I'm just, my memory's going. Here's Lemieux steals spotlight in 3-2 win over Caps, and it's just a cool picture of him. I have tons of Penguins and especially Lemieux, Lemieux stuff. Here's where the Pens won 16 in a row. And it gives you a breakdown of Lemieux versus LaFontaine. Here's a young Yager. Teen Idol Yager has NHL watching too. Here's when Don Shula tied George Halas's career record. Oh, this Super Bowl was great. This is when Jim Plunkett had a Cinderella year against Joe Theismann. Here's when, so Bradshaw, he had bursitis in his elbow, and he was out. We had Cliff Stout quarterbacking. And I'm so blessed to have watched his last game. The Steelers were struggling, couldn't score, couldn't move the ball. And they brought him in. He was hurt on the sideline, still recovering. And he came in the second half, and he threw these dying quails. And he moved us right down the field, threw a touchdown to Greg Garrity, who I believe wore number 19, if I'm not mistaken. And he was out of Penn State. It was the only touchdown catch he ever caught. And then he went right down the field again, throwing these dying quails, moved them right down the field, and threw one to Calvin Sweeney. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Calvin Sweeney wore number 85. But it was a brilliant last game, and that was it. His arm was done. He couldn't play anymore, and I wanted to keep the newspapers related to that. Here's when Dave Parker signed with the Reds and left my Pirates. And here's where Mike Easler, the hitman, went to Boston, and also talks about Dave Parker joining the Reds. That happened at the same time. I loved Mike Easler. He was a great pinch hitter on that 79 World Series team. He was money. This one just has Andy Van Slyke. Here's when the Packers won the Super Bowl with Favre. I'm not a Packer fan. I wasn't particularly a Brett Favre fan, so again, I have no idea why I kept this. Here's when John Elway and Denver won one of their Super Bowls. Here's an old one. This is from like 1981. And it says Kuhn blocks deals. This is where I guess Ed Ott was going to California, and they blocked some pirate trades and stuff. And I know he ended up leaving, so didn't follow that story. And here's where Rod Woodson blew out his knee that made him become a safety. And the Steelers lost him that whole season, went to the Super Bowl. Without him, he couldn't really play in the Super Bowl, but he came in for one series and again went up against Michael Irvin. And Michael Irvin had been talking all kind of smack on him. And they threw the ball to Michael Irvin, and he went over and batted it down. And he went like this on the sideline because he was talking smack about his knee. And this was Michael Moore when he beat Holyfield. And Michael Moore was from near my hometown. And I have a friend whose father was a Golden Gloves boxer who trained him as a teenager. So this is kind of hometown special stuff when he beat up Holyfield. And another Terry Bradshaw newspaper from back in the day. And this was when, again, Doug Drabeck, when they ended their 11-year drought in the NL East. When the Steelers won the Super Bowl, one of them, one of the many. Oh, this is cool, and it's folded, but this is Cecil Fielder. And it talks about when he went to Japan to play. Again, I was a Cecil Fielder fan, but no recollection of that. Here we have Eric Davis. Here's a really cool one with Barry Sanders. This is just a cool image of Barry Bonds. It says, Bucks hold Cubs to snap streak. Bonds does it in style. Penguins holding up the Stanley Cup. This is another goodbye for Jim Leyland. He was well loved in Pittsburgh, and this was funny. This is when Bobby Bonilla signed that monster deal with the Mets. And this is just another really cool Barry Bonds. I got some Duke stuff here. I don't know why. It was just a special team, I guess. When they beat UNLV, I couldn't believe it. I watched UNLV that year and with my dad, and I remember back then, we had to record things on VHS, and I told him, I'm recording these games. This is the best college team I have ever seen in my life. They beat everybody by like 30 points all season. They were insane. And they go up in that championship. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it when Duke beat them. So they didn't finish it off, but man, they were a talented college team. I was really super impressed with them back then. And they had the Turk, their head coach, Tarkanian. And I have a signed picture of him somewhere. My dad got out in Vegas and he signed it in a silver Sharpie. So, hey, that's what I have for you. I hope it wasn't too long for you. I'm here reminiscing, digging through boxes. So, as always, thanks for watching.